Welcome to Is It Fast, where today we are speaking to Jack Butel. Been a pretty momentous few days for you. You've found yourself at a new team and in a new car. How do you feel about it? Tell us how's it happened?
Yeah, we obviously knew that Sicily were gonna get two new cars, and just unfortunately the budget didn't get us to where we needed to do to stay with the team. So the next team was to look at was the Hyundais. How they've performed this year for a first year car is pretty sensational. So that was the first step, to go speak to Justina, sort out the budget, make sure it was capable for us to do, and yeah, we made it happen.
So pretty momentous stuff. Obviously, you've had that first year in the championship, so you've taken off the shackles and gotten used to, or kind of used to, because it's been an odd year.
Yeah,
Kind of used to what it's like to be racing in that particular series. What do you think the main differences would be between obviously the Merc that you were driving this last season just gone and the i30 that you're going to find yourself in?
Honestly, I don't know. Obviously, I haven't even sat in it. I don't know how it feels. I've got no idea. So I'm hoping it's similar, obviously how it reacts and stuff, but I know it is a longer car. It is a saloon, not a hatchback. So there may be some differences on how it reacts. But I mean, I've been behind them a little bit this year to understand how they move and roughly what they look like. But I think it's good. They look pretty settled, which is good.
Yeah, that's the thing. They themselves have had a year to bed in, get used to the car and how it reacts, and obviously learnt a few things. You're probably not allowed to tell us, but do you know who your teammates are going to be into 2021?
Honestly, I've got no idea. I don't know who they're talking to. I've got no idea who it is. But I know Justina, and I know she wouldn't put anyone in the car that she doesn't feel capable of me working with, or them working with me, and to create a good team and a good vibe for them for next season.
So as we head into 2021, what would you say has been really the biggest lessons? Because you've raced in quite a few different types of car in different championships. You've come out the back of this season. Is there kind of big lessons and learnings you go, right, when we head into 2021, this is what I'm going to take with me?
Massively. Obviously, everything I've driven is rear wheel drive. So to be able to jump in the front wheel drive in the most competitive series is a massive learning curve in itself. So yeah, this year I've just been chipping away. This year was like a test year to be able to then come into next year and hopefully be up within the top 15. That's the aim for this year. And I think obviously finishing third in the Jack Series, there's no reason why we shouldn't aim high and go for win it for next year. I think with the car that they've shown this year and the more development that they're going to do over Christmas, and when I go test it, there's no reason why we shouldn't be fighting in the top 15 and for the Jack Sears next year.
And that's the thing, the Jack Sears trophy, the season just gone, was competitive and very, very open. You had obviously, you had Bobby until he had his little incident where he flipped a few times, and then Creasy coming through and grabbing it at the end, which was great for him. But would you say realistically that's going to be your aim for 2021?
Yeah, I think it's realistic, because I was looking at stuff, and the only race I didn't finish at Croft, I think we would have put us second. So if all I've got to do is just do what I do, but then get in the top 15, there's no real reason. If you look at Creasy, what he did this year, he was constantly in the top 15, just going around, making sure he finishes. And there should be no reason why there should be any different. Obviously, if you get a DNF from mechanical issue, then obviously you can't do anything about it. But yeah, it was a shock, just put it that way, that we got third. Obviously, going into it fifth, to then come out third, it was a massive relief. We weren't expecting that for the first year. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we were over the moon.
Yeah, I think it's a cracking result, to be honest, considering new to the championship, new to the type of car, new to the tracks as well, I guess.
We did British F4, so we did 2 years of British F4, and then I did the LMP3 Cup. So there's a couple of tracks that I've done a couple of times, but not the F4 was 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So refreshing it has been hard. I've been doing a lot of sim training to try to refresh it and stuff like that. And hopefully next year, now I know the tracks more, we can go out there and do a lot better.
Did you do because this is something that comes up relatively frequently, because we've all been stuck in our houses. sim racing, particularly for those of us who can't really do it that well, has become more of a thing. Was that something that you'd done beforehand, like years gone by, that you were sim
sort
racing?
of? I had like a little sim. It wasn't anything spectacular. And then when I joined Sicily, I went to iZone, and then realised that actually I do need to invest in a new sim.
Mm-hmm.
So I spoke to Charlie Eastwood. He sorted me out a sim, and I've been using that ever since. I do training with iZone. I think it's like 3 times a week. Every morning, do a video chat on Zoom. So I've stepped up from where I was at the beginning of the season to now is a massive change.
So switching back into the real world, we visited a fair number of circuits in 2020 in the end, albeit kind of concertinaed together and pretty close together. Did you find any particular one suited your strengths the best, or not, for that matter?
Yeah, I never used to like Alton, but for some reason the third race when it was dry, it just clicked.
Yeah.
I think we started at the back and ended up coming to 16th. The car felt good. I started to get the track flowing and stuff like that. Alton's never been one that I've always liked, but yeah, we kind of did well at Alton. But the one that I need to really knuckle down is Knockhill. Obviously, yeah. I've only been there twice now. So, I'm doing a lot of sim work on Knockhill to try do a lot better than we did this year. This year was not that great up at Knockhill. So,
Knockhill's a funny one, isn't it? Because I think outside of the paddock and outside of those of us who go up there, it seems quite. I've always thought, before I started going, for example, I thought, oh, it's beautiful. It's in Scotland. It's great. And then, but actually, it takes quite a toll on the drivers and the teams logistically. And obviously, yourself, you live in Jersey, so for most of us, I always say we're as it fast. We're pretty far away from everywhere down here. We're closer to France than everywhere else. But that only works for everybody else, but obviously you're closer to France than even we are down here. So
yeah. So we have to get on I think it's a 10-hour boat on the slow one and a 4-hour one on a fast one,
right,
to get over, and then we got to drive all the way from Poole all the way up. So yeah, It's a nightmare.
So how do you deal with that? Obviously, this year you were getting used to it. But is there anything that you have to do, or that you think you might do, from a preparation perspective, that is different to your new teammates and your competitors, where actually before you've even started, you have to overcome a bit more of a leg of a journey? How does that look?
We always try to get there a day or 2 days before, just so we can chill out, settle down, get to the team, make sure everything's right. But yeah, this year's been an absolute nightmare, because every time I've had to come back, I've had to self-isolate until I get a result. Right. Which has made it a lot more difficult, obviously, on the finance side, because sometimes I'd have to, if it's a double header, I'd have to stay over for an extra week. So that side's been very difficult. But obviously next year it's probably going to be completely different. I'm going to be able to come back and yeah, it's just, hopefully it'll be different next year.
So looking ahead to the I suppose the quadruple force that is going to be Excelr8 and TradePrice Cars. I'm not sure how it's going to be, I guess, but
I think it's Excelr8 with TradePrice Cars. I think
that makes sense.
Something like that.
So have you even started to think about things like testing and getting your seat fitting? What do you think that will look like?
So yeah, we're looking end of Feb. mid-Feb. Obviously, we want to get January out the way in beginning of Feb, because I still think we're going to be, well, hopefully not in lockdown.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's more realistic. The weather's a bit more predictable. At least you might get a bit of dry, a bit of wet. You know what you're going to get at the end of Feb.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going to go over a couple of days before we go testing, obviously to meet the team, do the seat fit and everything like that, because I've met a couple of people on the team. So it'd be nice to actually get down, if we're allowed to go out for a meal, get to know everyone properly and go from there.
Are you nervous?
I am a bit. Obviously, it's a new team that I don't know. Obviously, I've spoken to Senna and Chris and stuff like that, and they are lovely people, and they've said to me how nice the team is. So I'm pretty confident that I'm going to go into the team, loving the team like I did with Sicily. It'd be a different story if I went and known I didn't. I don't think it's going to be like that. But we'll have to wait and see. Justine's a lovely lady. Like, every phone call I've had with her, she will do anything to. If I call her at 8:00 at night, she'll pick up. And it just shows from that, like we said before about the personality, you can tell how someone is just by 30 seconds of speaking to them.
Yeah, you'll have quite a bit of backup. Obviously, you were teammates with Adam Morgan last year.
Yeah.
Do you think it will be a little bit different, whether it will go from having one teammate to theoretically 3 teammates at the same
obviously
time?
That I think I'll be used to. Obviously, doing the 24-hour stuff and the 12-hour stuff, you're always in a team, always sharing data and stuff like that. So with that, I think it will be good, because I'm used to stuff like that. But Adam, like, he showed me so much. I'm so grateful for what he showed me in the short amount of time that we had. It was amazing. Obviously, he's been doing it for 7-8 years now, so he tried and gave as much to me as I could. And yeah, it was an unfortunate leave, but I had to get back in the touring cars and get back in there with a good team, and Hyundai was the one to go for.
Yeah, and I think I haven't really driven a lot of touring cars. I think at the moment my level is at precisely 0. But weirdly, I have driven an i30N, the hatchback and the sportback, on the road completely legally.
I've actually got a fastback.
Have you actually got one?
Which is a coincidence. Christina was like, "Do you know anyone with a fastback so we can take some pictures?" I was like, "Yeah, I've got one," which was coincidence. But yeah, I sorted one out with Greg Mansell, because he's a Hyundai dealership in Jersey, and we're really good mates. Yeah. He sorted me out a Hyundai back in February.
Right.
And it's such a coincidence, because the car before that I had was an A45.
Right. Okay.
So it's weird how it's all like, but
I mean, a little bit too coincidental, if you ask me, Jack. It's a bit weird. Well, there you go. So, do you think that will get? I mean, obviously, touring cars are a little bit different, as you know. But do you think it will give you even a mental advantage, where you're going to go into the paddock and go, "Oh, I recognise you. Yeah, I've got you at home on the drive, mate."
I hope so. I mean, obviously, knowing how you can see out the back and stuff like that, it's little things.
Yeah.
I hope it does. I mean, after driving it for God knows 8-9 months, I hope it's going to give me some advantage.
Yeah, no, and Hyundai's, I mean, they do so well on the racetrack anyway, you know, and the two from the season just gone, they performed really, really well considering brand new cars to the grid.
Well, their first race 3, Smiley got second. It just shows that the car's there.
Yeah.
It just needed a year, I think, to develop.
Yeah. And
next year, I think we are going to absolutely do amazing.
So obviously, motorsport is quite it's quite an expensive endeavour, and you find that drivers don't do it alone. There's always a huge team of friends, family, obviously the teams themselves, but then also partners, so businesses and individuals that help help financially.
I mean, Lucas Batteries, they've been with me for 6 years, and really get that next step that I needed to get into touring cars and stuff like that. So yeah, they've helped me massively. Yeah, it's a company called ProClean. They're a balloting company, but they do high-end cars. They've been with me for 3 years. And they've helped me massively, and looking to do more in the near future. And then Greg Mansell, Nigel's son, and Nigel himself, Nigel let me and Greg use the museum to be able to do the photo shoot. So, it was massive to have the Renault there where Senna sat on, and just the history there is amazing. And Greg's also my trainer. So I've been training quite hard with Greg in the last 6 months. He's getting me to where I need to be. So yeah, he's been a massive help with his experience, his knowledge. I've been able to do a lot more things that I didn't know, which I now do. So yeah, he's been a massive help.
Jack, thank you very, very much for spending some of your time this morning on Is It Fast? And yeah, I'm sure you'll do very, very well in the new i30. And Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
No, thank you very much. It was a pleasure getting on here and you asking me to come on. And yeah, hopefully in the season we might be able to do something else. You never know, and catch up and see how it's getting on. And yeah, Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much. Yeah, hopefully see you in a paddock near you soon. Is that the same?
Yeah, paddock near you soon. That sounds great.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Thank you once again to Jack for joining us right here on Is It Fast? And I'm sure you'll agree, a very insightful interview about his journey into the Touring Car Championship to this point, and a little look into what 2021 might look like for him and his brand new team. If you've liked what you watched, then please do follow us on your social media platform of choice. And until next time, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.